Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never. It's supposed to be empty. I was told I was handed an empty gun. If there were cosmetic rounds, nothing with a charge at all, a flash round, nothing.
Alec Baldwin's manslaughter case just got dropped due to hidden evidence, making him, his family, and fans celebrate. But here's the twist. Why was he accused in the first place? Could it be some Hollywood big shots didn't want their names dragged in the dirt, so they made Alec take the fall? Was this whole thing rigged from the start? Let's dig into the shady side of Hollywood and find out who really pulls the strings behind closed doors. So, if you've been living under a rock, let's catch you up on the Alec Baldwin Rust shooting case. Back in 2021, tragedy struck the set of the movie Rust when a gun Baldwin was handling went off. Cinematographer Helena Hutchins. This was Hollywood's first on-set shooting in nearly 30 years, and it shocked everyone.
Helena Hutchins, who was 42, was working on the film Rust. She died after a prop gun held by the actor Alec Baldwin discharged.
Alec was charged with involuntary manslaughter, and the whole world was watching as this high-profile case unfolded. It was unprecedented. I mean, how often do we see actors facing criminal charges for on-set accidents?
Well, what's interesting, not to digress on some commentary here, is that we've done this for 2 weeks and we did it the right way every day. Every day. You're on a set, you rehearse, they bring you what's called a cold gun.
For context, in October 2021, the set of the Western film Rust in New Mexico became the scene of a tragic and shocking incident that would forever change the lives of those involved. Cinematographer Helena Hutchins died after a gun held by Hollywood actor Alec Baldwin fired a live round during a rehearsal, casting a dark shadow over the film industry.
Baldwin rehearsing his quick draw only moments before a film set was transformed into a crime.
Baldwin, known for his roles in 30 Rock and his portrayal of Donald Trump on Saturday Night Live, denied pulling the trigger and pleaded not guilty to involuntary manslaughter. On October 21, 2021, the tragedy struck when Hutchins was shot while working as the film's director of photography.
The incident sent police racing to the sprawling desert ranch in New Mexico. Newly released police body cam footage shows the chaos that confronted them.
The 42-year-old Ukrainian-born cinematographer was flown to the hospital by helicopter but succumbed to her injuries. Director Joel Souza, who was standing behind Hutchins, was injured but survived. The news of Hutchins' death sent shockwaves through the film industry. Her colleagues remembered her as a wonderful mother and an incredible artist. Baldwin expressed his heartbreak, stating, "My heart is broken for her husband, their son, and all who knew and loved Helena."
Okay. No, I'm not, actually.
As details of the incident emerged, it was revealed that Baldwin had been drawing a revolver across his body and pointing it at a camera during a rehearsal when the gun discharged. Assistant director David Halls, who had shouted "cold gun" to indicate it was safe, later admitted he did not know the gun contained live ammunition. The revelation that Halls had been previously dismissed from a film production for gun safety violations only added to the controversy. In the days following the shooting, a vigil was held in New Mexico to mourn Hutchins. Industry professionals and friends gathered to honor her memory, lighting candles and sharing their grief. Legal documents revealed that Baldwin was pointing the gun at the camera when it fired, killing Hutchins and injuring Souza. The investigation into the shooting intensified, with Santa Fe County Sheriff Aiden Mendoza stating that a lead projectile removed from Souza's shoulder appeared to be part of a live round. Authorities recovered 600 pieces of evidence, including firearms and ammunition. Baldwin, who described the Rust team as a well-oiled crew, spoke publicly for the first time since the shooting. He called Hutchins his friend and recounted how they had bonded over dinner with Souza. He described the incident as a one-in-a-trillion episode and emphasized his full cooperation with the police investigation.
Someone who was loved by everyone who worked with and liked by everyone who worked with and admired.
However, this did little to quell the mounting legal challenges. Script supervisor Mamie Mitchell filed a lawsuit against Baldwin, alleging that the film script did not require him to fire the gun when he fatally shot Hutchins. Mitchell's lawyer, Gloria Allred, accused Baldwin of playing Russian roulette by firing the gun without checking it first. As the investigation progressed, police obtained a warrant to search the premises of an arms supplier. An affidavit revealed that ammunition for the film had come from several sources, including PDQ Arm and Prop. The owner, Seth Kenny, claimed the ammunition he supplied consisted of dummy rounds and blanks, raising questions about how live rounds ended up on the set. Baldwin, in an interview with ABC News, maintained that he didn't pull the trigger and suggested someone else had placed a live bullet in the gun.
I take the gun and I start to cock the gun. I'm not going to pull the trigger. I said, do you see that? She goes, well, just cheat it down and tilt it down a little bit like that. And I cock the gun. I go, can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? And she says, and then I let go of the hammer of the gun.
Despite the mounting legal and public pressure, Baldwin continued to deny any wrongdoing. He handed over his mobile phone to investigators, but the process was fraught with complications. In a video message on Instagram, Baldwin vehemently denied being evasive, stating, "They can't just go through your phone and take your photos or your love letters to your wife or what have you." He assured full compliance with the investigation. Gutierrez Reed, the film's armorer responsible for the weapons on set, also faced legal challenges. She sued the prop supplier, alleging that the company had distributed a mix of dummy and live ammunition. Her claim stated the ammunition was misrepresented as only dummy ammunition when it contained both dummy and live ammunition. However, Kenny denied these allegations, maintaining that it was impossible for live rounds to have come from his company. The legal battles extended to Hutchins' family, who brought a lawsuit against Baldwin, Halls, Gutierrez Reed, and prop master Sarah Zachary. The lawsuit alleged that Baldwin recklessly shot and that crew members had cut corners, leading to her death. Hutchins' husband, Matthew, expressed his anger and frustration, stating it was absurd that Baldwin was not taking responsibility for her death. In April 2022, the producers of Rust were fined and criticized by authorities for failing to follow safety guidelines. The New Mexico Environment Department issued the maximum fine of $136,793, citing the film's producers' plain indifference to recognized hazards associated with the use of firearms on set. In the same month, police released footage from the set, including the moments before Hutchins' fatal injury. Baldwin was seen rehearsing with the gun, casting further doubt on his claims of innocence. The legal troubles for Baldwin and others involved in the incident continued to escalate. In October 2022, Baldwin reached a settlement with Hutchins' family, who maintained that her death was an accident. Despite this, the district attorney announced in January 2023 that Baldwin and Gutierrez Reed would each be charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Assistant Director David Halls entered a guilty plea to a misdemeanor charge of negligent use of a deadly weapon and was sentenced to 6 months of probation. Prosecutors alleged that Baldwin had been on the phone during firearms training for Rust and accused him of many instances of extremely reckless acts. They argued that if Baldwin had performed mandatory safety checks with Gutierrez Reed and not pointed the gun at Hutchins, the tragedy would not have occurred. Special investigator Robert Schilling highlighted Baldwin's responsibility to follow basic gun safety, calling his claim of not pulling the trigger absurd. In February 2023, Hutchins' family filed a new civil suit against Baldwin and the film's producers, alleging intentional infliction of emotional distress and negligence. The case was brought by Hutchins' mother, father, and sister, who were living in Ukraine. Their lawyer, Gloria Allred, stated that the family was devastated by the and felt strongly that those responsible must be held accountable. Despite the ongoing legal battles, filming on Rust resumed in the spring of 2023, with Baldwin remaining in the starring role. The production shifted location to Montana, and new safety measures were implemented, including barring any use of working weapons and ammunition on set. Meanwhile, Hutchins' widower, Matthew, approved a documentary about his late wife, and a settlement agreement was reached for the Hutchins family. In June 2023, Gutierrez Reed faced new allegations from prosecutors who claimed she was likely hungover on the day of the fatal shooting. They accused her of drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana in the evenings during filming. Her lawyer responded by accusing the prosecutors of mishandling the case and resorting to character assassination. Gutierrez-Reed pleaded not guilty to charges of involuntary manslaughter and evidence tampering in August 2023. Prosecutors argued that she acted recklessly when loading the gun, but her defense maintained that she was not solely responsible for the shooting. In January 2024, a grand jury in New Mexico charged Baldwin with a fresh count of involuntary manslaughter based on new forensic tests on the weapon used in the shooting. Baldwin pleaded not guilty and maintained that he did not pull the trigger, arguing that the gun went off when he cocked the hammer. Gutierrez-Reed's trial began in February 2024, and she was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, but acquitted of evidence tampering charges in March. The jury concluded that she failed to ensure the weapon was only loaded with dummy rounds. During her sentencing in April 2024, Gutierrez-Reed tearfully addressed the court, expressing her sorrow for Hutchins' family and friends. However, the judge emphasized her responsibility, stating, "You alone turned a safe weapon into a lethal weapon, but for you, Miss Hutchins would be alive." In July 2024, jury selection began for Baldwin's trial. The actor faced involuntary manslaughter charges and continued to deny pulling the trigger, maintaining that the gun went off when he cocked the hammer. His defense team argued that it was the responsibility of other crew members to ensure the gun was safe, while prosecutors insisted that Baldwin had a duty to follow basic gun safety protocols. Fast forward to July 12, 2024. Alec Baldwin, his lawyers, and the public gallery filled with reporters and supporters. Everyone was on edge as the trial kicked off. Just 3 days into the trial, the bombshell dropped. The judge dismissed the charges against Alec Baldwin. Can you believe it? Here's what went down. Alec broke down in tears, hugging his wife Hilaria as his family wept in the courtroom. It was an emotional moment, to say the least. But why did the judge throw out the case? Well, hold on to your seats because this gets wild. Baldwin's lawyers argued that the prosecution and police had withheld crucial evidence. Yep, you heard that right. They claimed there was a cover-up by the prosecutors.
There have been more issues in this case than I have ever seen in all of those cases combined.
Alex Spiro, Baldwin's lawyer, told the court that the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office had taken possession of live rounds in March, but failed to list them in the Rust investigation file or disclose their existence to the defense. This, my friends, is a big no-no in legal terms. Withholding evidence can totally undermine a case. Judge Mary Marlowe Summer did not hold back in her decision. She stated, "The state's withholding of the evidence was willful and deliberate. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted to ensure the integrity of the judicial system and the efficient administration of justice." In other words, the judge believed the prosecution was playing dirty. And because of that, the charges were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can't be refiled. Talk about a legal victory for Alec Baldwin. After the ruling, Baldwin and his family left the court without speaking to reporters, but their relief was palpable. After being dragged through what Baldwin's lawyers called a cesspool of improprieties, they finally had a moment to breathe. Now, let's dissect the prosecution's mess up. The rounds in question were handed over by Troy Teskey, a friend of Thel Reed, who's the stepfather of the movie's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed. These rounds were supposed to be part of the case file, but were kept separate. Why? That's the million-dollar question.
In Hannah's interview, she told me that she was the one that loaded Alec's gun.
Corporal Alexandria Hancock, the lead investigator, admitted that the decision to keep these rounds in a separate case file was made by her supervisor, and the prosecutors. When asked why, Hancock revealed it was a group decision that included lead prosecutor Kari Morrissey. The defense argued that the prosecution had a personal vendetta against Baldwin. There were even claims that Morrissey had made some nasty comments about Baldwin, suggesting she wanted to teach him a lesson. Morrissey denied this, but the damage was done. The court's trust in the prosecution was shattered. As the courtroom drama unfolded, emotions ran high. Baldwin, a multiple Emmy Award-winning actor, was visibly emotional. The case had not only legal but also personal ramifications for him and his family.
I'm gonna
Dismissal.
Seeing Alec break down in tears and hug his wife, Hilaria, was a powerful moment. It reminded us that behind all the legal jargon and courtroom theatrics, there are real people with real emotions. Legal analysts didn't hold back either. Many criticized the Santa Fe County District Attorney's Office for even bringing the case to trial. New York defense attorney Duncan Levin said, "The prosecution felt it had to cheat to get the result it wanted. This is the worst of our system on display." Such strong words highlight the broader implications of this case. When prosecutors don't play by the rules, it not only jeopardizes individual cases, but also erodes public trust in the justice system. Beyond the courtroom drama, the Rush shooting case has sparked serious discussions about safety protocols on film sets. The tragic death of Helena Hutchins has led to calls for stricter regulations and better safety practices within the industry. Baldwin's defense argued that he was failed by the crew members responsible for ensuring the gun was safe. The industry is now facing a reckoning, with many pushing for more rigorous safety standards to prevent such tragedies in the future. However, the dismissal of his case has left many wondering if the Hollywood legend was set up by the very industry that made him a star. Is Baldwin a victim of a sinister plot? Before we delve into the conspiracy theories, let's take a look at Alec Baldwin's rise to fame. Alec Baldwin was born on April 3, 1958, in Amityville, New York, and grew up in the Nassau Shores neighborhood of Massapequa. He was the eldest son of Carol Newcomb from Syracuse, New York, and Alexander Ray Baldwin Jr., a high school history teacher and football coach from Brooklyn. Alec's family was large and tight-knit, with 3 younger brothers, Daniel, William, and Stephen, who all followed in his footsteps to become actors. He also has 2 sisters, Elizabeth Beth Baldwin Kukler and Jane Ann Baldwin Sasso. Raised as Roman Catholics, the Baldwin family has Irish, French, and English ancestry. Alec's lineage even traces back to Mayflower passenger John Howland, making him the 13th generation of his family born in North America. Alec attended Alfred G. Burner High School in Massapequa, where he played football under Coach Bob Reifsnyder. Before he found fame, Alec worked as a busboy at the famed New York City discotheque, Studio 54. From 1976 to 1979, he attended George Washington University. Although he lost the election for student body president in 1979, he received a personal letter from former U.S. President Richard Nixon encouraging him to use the loss as a learning experience. He then transferred to the Tisch School of the Arts at New York University, where he studied under Jeffrey Horn and Mira Rostova at the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute. Baldwin was later accepted as a member of the prestigious Actors Studio, and in 1994, he completed his Bachelor of Fine Arts degree at NYU. Alec Baldwin's career began to rise when he landed his first acting role as Billy Aldrich in the NBC daytime soap opera The Doctors from 1980 to 1982. His early career saw him in the short-lived TV series Cutter to Houston in 1983 and his TV movie debut in The Sheriff and the Astronaut in 1984. Baldwin's role as the brother of Valine Ewing and son of Lilla Mae Clements in Knots Landing from 1984 to 1985 started to put him on the map.
Then this morning they could not have been happier that I was free. Wonderful, they said. We'd love to have the Joshua Rush show. Come right over. So I did.
In 1986, he starred in Dress Gray, a 4-hour made-for-television miniseries, as a cadet sergeant solving the mystery of a murdered classmate. That same year, he made his Broadway debut in a revival of Joe Orton's Loot. Baldwin's film debut came with a minor role in the 1987 comedy mystery Forever Lulu. 1988 was a breakthrough year for Baldwin, who appeared in 5 major films. Notably, he starred in Tim Burton's Beetlejuice, alongside Michael Keaton and Geena Davis. He also had roles in Working Girl, Married to the Mob, Talk Radio, and She's Having a Baby. Baldwin's portrayal of Jack Ryan in The Hunt for Red October, 1990, solidified his status as a leading man. That same year, he starred in the black comedy Miami Blues. In 1991, Baldwin met his future wife, Kim Basinger, while filming The Marrying Man.
Is there any way that I could see you later on tonight?
Sure.
If you don't mind looking up from a grave.
He continued to take on challenging roles, such as a sales executive in Glengarry Glen Ross, 1992, and starring in Prelude to a Kiss with Meg Ryan. Although Prelude to a Kiss received mixed reviews, Baldwin's career continued to flourish. He reunited with Basinger for The Getaway in 1994 and took on the title role in The Shadow the same year. Baldwin's Broadway credits expanded with roles in Serious Money and a revival of A Streetcar Named Desire, which earned him a Tony Award nomination. In the 1995 television version of A Streetcar Named Desire, Baldwin received an Emmy nomination. From 1998 to 2002, Baldwin narrated Thomas and Friends and starred in the film Thomas and the Magic Railroad. His performance in The Cooler, 2003, earned him nominations for an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, and a Screen Actors Guild Award. Baldwin's collaborations with Martin Scorsese in The Aviator, 2004, and The Departed, 2006, were critically acclaimed. In 2006, Baldwin starred as Jack Donaghy on NBC's 30 Rock, a role that earned him 3 Primetime Emmy Awards, 2 Golden Globe Awards, and 7 Screen Actors Guild Awards. Baldwin's portrayal of Donaghy became iconic, showcasing his comedic talent and solidifying his place in television history. Baldwin also became known for his numerous appearances on Saturday Night Live, hosting the show 17 times as of 2017, holding the record for most times hosting. His portrayal of Donald Trump during the 2016 presidential election was particularly notable, earning him the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series in 2017.
On January 20th, I, Donald J. Trump, will become the 45th President of the United States.
In recent years, Baldwin continued to take on diverse roles, including appearances in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, 2015, and Mission Impossible Fallout, 2018. He also hosted a reboot of the game show Match Game and starred in films such as It's Complicated, 2009, and Blue Jasmine, 2013. In 2021, Baldwin starred in the miniseries Dr. Death on Peacock and had a voice cameo in the film Tar, 2022. Baldwin's career has been marked by versatility, resilience, and a continuous evolution of his craft. Baldwin's recent legal troubles and the ensuing media frenzy have fueled rumors that he might be targeted by Hollywood elites. His high-profile status and outspoken nature could have threatened the interests of powerful individuals within the industry. Some theorists suggest that the incident on the set of Rust was used as an opportunity to tarnish Baldwin's reputation. Could the tragic accident have been manipulated by those who wanted to see him fall from grace? The questions are endless, and the answers remain elusive. In any case, the dismissal of charges against Alec Baldwin in the Rust shooting case is a stark reminder of the importance of transparency and fairness in the legal system. It also underscores the need for better safety practices on film sets to protect everyone involved. For now, Baldwin and his family can breathe a sigh of relief, but the quest for accountability and justice for Helena Hutchins and her family continues. We hope the lessons learned from this case lead to positive changes in the industry. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.